Evening, guys. It's just me. Alice is at, I believe, her sister's wedding. So you have got me going through all the kind of feedback and stuff on the forums. This is week 7. It's almost nearly done. We've got week 8, and then there's the kind of we call it the break week, but it's kind of the rollover week. And then we're looking at starting the next one on the 22nd of September, I believe. So it's about 2.5 weeks away for the next one. So next week I will be reaching out to all of you and just sort of saying, um, check in with me, regardless of what you're doing, whether you're continuing on or whether you're looking at kind of moving on in your own. Whatever it is, I want to make sure that I've had a conversation with everybody so that you know um, what you've got to do, what your next steps are. All right. So going into the feedback, just want to go through everything that we've basically that you've put in. Starting with the wins, there are some really good wins this week, and a couple in particular. I mean, the fact that we've got somebody who said that they're at the lowest weight now for over 5 years. Other people they're noticing the difference. Other people are noticing that's great. Um, Gym sessions completed despite sort of work commitments, busy time at work, prioritizing those sorts of things. That's fantastic. I think there's one in particular, and the key one that stands out for me is around mindset shift. So, when things go wrong, there is a tendency for a lot of people just to hit that sod it button or the F it button. Um, and what I'm noticing more and more is that if you have those moments where, you might have stress and pressure, work pressure, pressure with family, loads of stuff going on, and you might have just overconsumed on calories. In the past, many people would just go, right, sod it, and completely go overboard, feel guilty the next day, and it rolls on and on. I'm noticing more and more that a lot of people, or you guys basically, are kind of going, no, bring it back in, start again tomorrow. That is the key. If you do have one bad day, it doesn't matter. The thing that makes those bad days worse is keeping, rolling it on and not kind of drawing a line under it. And that's hard. That's something that comes with practice, and it's something that you need to keep practicing. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you'll have a bad day and it'll go over on calories and it might last 2 or 3 days. Sometimes that happens still with me. It still happens. But then at some point, you've got to draw a line under it, not punish yourself, and just get back into that routine. And I'm starting to see that more and more, which is fantastic. And that's a key win. That is really, really good. Um, Getting back into routine, that's another one as well. So you've had your holidays. The 6 week summer break is hard. We said this last week. It is really difficult. And something that I posted up into the group is about the September reset. I've done that with my one-to-one clients as well. One of the things I would like you to do in the next week or two, so week 8 and week 9, I'll keep posting up, and Alice will keep posting up as well, just to check in on this September reset. And I want you to focus. I think I put the PDF document in there. I want you to refocus on a few of the key things. It's making sure that you are prioritizing protein. I am not saying this from a fat loss point of view. This is something that is key for health, fitness, as well as muscle maintenance, bone health, and all these sorts of things. So you've really got to make sure that you are kind of prioritizing that protein, getting your fruit and veg in. Fiber is one of the most important things in our diet. We need to make sure we're getting enough fiber. And remember, for every 10 grams of fiber that you can get into your diet, you reduce your risk of all-cause mortality. All-cause mortality is basically your risk of dying from any particular cause, whether it be diabetes, stroke, all of these sorts of things. So an increase of 10 grams decreases that risk by 10%, and it's a massive thing. So if you can get 20 grams in, you're decreasing your risk by 20%. It's huge. All right. Um, so focus on protein, fiber, steps, activity, movement. Focus on your hydration. Focus on your sleep, trying to get you sleep, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But just those basic habits and try and tick off as many of them as you can every day. If you can hit all of them every day, brilliant. Keep doing that, build up a streak. If you get 3 out of 5, that's okay. Just try and get the other ones in the following day. All right. So that's September reset. Really try and sort of check the posts in the app and give me your kind of your progress checking on that, and keep using those daily reflections. They do help. They really do help. I do daily reflections where I think about wins for the day, what I would like to focus on tomorrow, and any moments of gratitude. So really do kind of keep using those. All right. Let's go on to the questions. Question number one: managing unplanned eating throughout the day. So, the question was, how do you manage your calories if you've overeaten, unplanned, and gone over your calories? First thing I would say is do not skip meals. All right. Don't, and it's not like trying to slash your calories the next day either. We always say this, there are going to be days where you consume more calories than intended. That's absolutely fine. Um, the key is during that day. Now, if it's something that you know in advance, if it's something, an event that is coming up, try and plan it in. So if you know you're going out for a meal, maybe reduce the number of calories in your early meals in the day, adding more high volume, low calorie food. So things like your veg, your salad, your fruits and stuff like that. Making sure that you prioritize protein and get that protein in there because it's going to help keep you fuller for longer. Okay. Um, then if it's something that is unplanned, it's just remembering that the next meal, get back into that routine. Just return to your normal routine. So if you've earlier on in the day, so for example, you've had your breakfast and you have a lunch that constantly disrupting. You've had your breakfast and then I don't know, it might be a surprise birthday lunch at work, something along those lines, or somebody's brought cake in and you've consumed more calories than you intended earlier on in the day. I would say that you go straight into your evening meal. If you've got a planned evening meal, eat it, but you can look at making adjustments. So, if it maybe reducing the carb portion, increasing vegetables, so you keep the volume up there, but you reduce the number of calories in there. If you, for example, spaghetti bolognese, you could have the bolognese sauce and do it with a portion of vegetables instead of the usual pasta. Um, just making those sorts of modifications where you are trying to keep the meal as normal as you can, but without restricting. Do not skip the meal because then you're going to be hungry, you'll end up snacking, and that's when you start getting that kind of binge restrict cycle. All right. Really make sure you're getting that protein in. That is going to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. And even if it pushes your calories slightly over, one of the things that you need to understand is that your body doesn't convert protein into fat. So if you overconsume on calories, and you're prioritizing that protein isn't going to get converted to fat. If you're eating, so if you're eating calories, if you overconsume on calories, the things that can get converted to fat, body fat, are the fats that you consume. If you consume a low to moderate fat diet, then it's not got a huge amount of calories to store as body fat. Your body has to work exceptionally hard to convert carbohydrates and protein into fats. So if you are over consuming on calories just for one day or a meal, that isn't going to get stored as fat. All right. It gets that energy from, or the excess energy gets pushed into the muscles, it's within your bloodstream. It's not going to be stored as fat. It does mean that you've got more energy to burn before it dips into your fat stores, and that's how it slows down your fat loss. But it's not going to; those excess calories are not just going to be automatically stored as body fat. All right. So get your protein in. That's going to make sure that you're feeling fuller for longer. It might actually mean that you are less hungry the following day, so you're less likely to snack. And that's the other thing as well. Remember, your body isn't just like, oh, that's 24 hours. That's your calories for then. That's your calories for then. It's the calories you consume over time. And if you have got one day where you're consuming more calories, expand it out and look at the full week. So, you might overconsume on one day, but then consume slightly under the other. It will balance out, and your body's really good at kind of using the signals for that. The only thing that scuppers your progress is you and the way you view things and your mindset. So if you have a higher calorie day, it's absolutely fine. The chances are that you're probably going to have a lower calorie day later on in the week. Don't stress too much about it. But the key thing, don't skip food, keep prioritizing your protein, be active. All right. Be active, make sure you are moving. And then, if rather than look at that meal or that day in isolation, expand out and look across the week and see how you might be able to adjust things slightly throughout the week. And then the other thing as well is look at what caused that overconsumption. Is there something that you could do in the future that might reduce the chances of that happening again? If it's something that it's happened because you didn't plan the meal and you didn't prep, it could be that you've overconsumed because you've had to go and get food from elsewhere because you've not prepped or planned. Is there something that you can do in future for that? Is it that, somebody's birthday, they brought in cake and things like that? Is it that, is there something that you could do around that? Is it that, oh, I've had a piece of cake. Do you know what? I won't eat that now. Let's take it away and I might have it later if I can build it in. Just have a think about what's caused it and what strategies you can use to reduce the chances of it happening again. But other than, also understand that sometimes it's going to happen and that's perfectly fine. For example, Alice is at a wedding. I'm going to a wedding this weekend as well. I am going to overconsume on calories. Is there a lot I can do about it? No. The food there that's given to us, that's already planned. I'm not going to skip breakfast in the morning because that just means that I'm going to overconsume on buffet food later on in the day when that comes to it. I am going to overconsume. Is it the end of the world? No. Is there a huge amount of things I can do about it? Well, there are a few things that I can do to minimize the impact, but I'm not going to starve myself the next day. I'm just going to return back to that normal routine. I'm in a fat loss phase at the moment as well. I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight after the summer. Overindulging is with everybody, but it's understanding that it's the bigger picture. All right. Next question. So, slow cooker meal ideas. Do we have any? Yeah, if you go into the recipe hub, there are some slow cooker meal things in there. I am going to try and put some things together as well. And I'm hoping that on Instagram and social media, I'm going to do like a series. So I'm currently started something on baked oats. Just because I like baked oats for breakfast. So I'm going to start doing a series for that. Slow cooker meals, I am looking at some recipes for slow cooker meals as well because they are great for prep meals and planning ahead. But yeah, absolutely going to be looking at the slow cooker meals for that one. But really for slow cooker stuff, you can do anything in it. It's just put it on low and slow. And one of the things that you can do as well is look for dump bags. So dump bags are things that you can prep in advance. So you get large freezer bags. You literally just put all the ingredients that you need in there. So it could be a meat, it could be herbs and spices, it could be stock, sauces, tomatoes, whatever. Stick it all in there, seal it up. That goes in the freezer. When you want it, you take it out the night before, let it defrost, empty it into your slow cooker in the morning, put it on low and slow, and by the time you come home in the evening, it's cooked. But if you Google dump bags, there are loads and loads of different ideas there. But yeah, there are some in the recipe hub. I'm wondering if I can actually show you just to remind you where the resources are. And yes, so I'm going to share. Not done this before, so I'm going to share screen. Just going to share this one. So there we go. On there, remember the Shape Up Resource Hub. You go to the Recipe Hub, which is the third option. And if you look into the main meals, slow cooker recipes, there is a section in there. So Brazilian coconut chicken, that's a particular favorite. You've got slow cooker beef curry, the slow cooker Chinese chicken curry. That did well and had really good positive feedback when I put that into when I put that up on social media. Really good positive feedback on that one. I've done the chicken and chorizo orzo in there as well, where you cook the chicken and then cook your pasta. You can actually cook all sorts of stuff in there, and you can cook the pasta in there. So let your meat cook low and slow for 6 hours, and then for the last sort of 30 to 40 minutes, cook your pasta. A little bit of extra water, cook your pasta in there. But yeah, on there, you can see that there are some slow cooker recipes. All right. So check those out, have a look at them. And I'm going to be doing a few more and adding a few bits in there as well. Right. Final question is about cardio machines. And this question, it says, is the Stairmaster more effective than the treadmill for a quick 20-minute cardio before strength? Now, there are a couple of things on this question. The first thing I would say is, um, and this is a within the fitness circle, this is something that is hotly debated on occasion. So, which is better to do, cardio or strength? Um, Generally, strength. Do your strength stuff first, your cardio after. If you are going to warm up on a bit of cardio equipment before you do your strength training, 5, 10 minutes max, light. You're not running, you're not doing anything like that. It's going to be walking, it might be on a bike at a low resistance, it might be on a rower at a low resistance, but it's light. The Stairmaster I wouldn't do before a workout, before a strength workout, especially if you're doing anything that's going to be squatting based, lunge based, or anything like that, because it is quite heavy on the glutes and your thighs. Okay. So if you are going to do anything to warm up, it's got to be treadmill, bike, rowing, really, really light resistance, nice and steady. No more than sort of 5, 10 minutes if you're walking at a max. All right. Remember, when it comes to strength training, warm ups, I generally do the exercise. So if I'm going to do squatting, I will do light squats, so body weight squats, then lightweight on the bar before I go into heavy working sets. And I'll do the same for any exercise. So if it's deadlifts, I'll do light. If it's rows, I'll go light and then go warmer. And I do that for the first one or two exercises of a strength session. If I'm sticking cardio at the end, so if I'm doing cardio with the workout, I stick that at the end and I'll do 15, 20 minutes of cardio. I generally do things like brisk walking, but that's because I prefer that. The Stairmaster is probably, it depends what your goal is, I think, is what you've got to ask. So what is the goal for your cardio? All right. If it's just to increase general activity, then I would say do what you enjoy, do what you like. The Stairmaster for me is a fate worse than death. Therefore, I tend not to do it because I don't like it. So I'm not going to do it. All right. And that's the thing you've got to ask. What is it you're doing it for? Are you going to enjoy it? Because if you absolutely loathe it, the chances are you're not going to enjoy it. Some people don't mind the Stairmaster. They quite like the way they feel afterwards. That's fine. For me, it hurts my knees. I'm getting on. So it hurts my knees. It hurts my hips. If I've done a leg day, I definitely don't want to do it. So I tend to avoid doing that. And I will do things like a slight incline on the treadmill. One note with that one, if you're doing an incline on the treadmill, if you have to hold on and lean back, the incline's too high and you're defeating the object of it. The incline needs to be at a stage where you're going to lean into it and you can do it unsupported. If you ever see people set it on the highest incline, hold on to it and lean back and then marching at high speed, they might as well have it on the flats. They're doing the same thing. Okay. Their arms are getting a more, and their grips getting a better workout than their legs. So with an incline treadmill, slight incline, a brisk pace, that means you can, you're getting a little bit out of breath, but you can just about hold a conversation and it increases your heart rate. That's about as effective as cardio gets. If you want to challenge yourself more and really push your heart rate up, then yes, do the Stairmaster. But if you don't like it, and the chances are you won't do it because you don't like it, don't do it. Okay, that's a simple thing like that. But I would always do it after, and especially something like the Stairmaster, because that is something that really does challenge your glutes and your quads. Um, but yeah, That's my opinion. That is my opinion. You might get other people telling you differently. You'll get some people telling you that the Stairmaster is great for glutes. One thing I will add again to this one, you see those people that do the Stairmaster and kick the legs out because they think it's building their glutes. It doesn't. It just makes them look stupid. Don't do it. Also, if you're going to do the Stairmaster, you see people leaning on it again. That's completely pointless. It's just taking away from it. Hold on to the sides for balance, but you need to be walking up it like like you would up the stairs, not leaning forward, not using your arms to take some of the weight. It's completely defeating the object. Do it like you're walking up flights of stairs. It is effective. It does burn calories, but 20 minutes of Stairmaster, it'll tell you on the machine you might have burned 400 calories. Nope. 100 to 250 calories max. And that's something that you can inhale incredibly quickly if you've got a bit of chocolate. You go down and get yourself a Cadbury's chocolate bar, it's gone. All right. So, again, if you ask what you want to do it for, if it's there just to increase your activity and you enjoy it, do it. A treadmill is I much prefer it. That's fine. If you're there to try and improve your cardiovascular fitness because it gets your heart rate up and it get in you breathe heavier, then potentially, yes, it will be better than the treadmill if all you're doing on the treadmill is walking. If you're running on the treadmill, then no. Okay. Think that's about it on that one. I hope that makes sense. All right. That's it with the questions. Next week is week 8. What I want you to kind of really kind of focus on again is it's just going back into that September reset, really going back to the basics. We have come back from the summer holiday. The point of this 8-week block was to try and keep you consistent over the summer holiday. And you know what? I think we've managed to achieve that. You're coming out of it either maintaining or slightly reducing the weight. And if you've maintained weight, or you've only put on 1 or 2 pounds, I want you to look at that as a success. I want you to think and look back at what's happened in previous years when you've not been focusing on habits and routines. The number of clients who've said to me that in previous years they'll have put on half a stone over the 6-8 week summer period, but they're maintaining now. That's great. And if your goal is fat loss and you've managed to maintain over the summer period, when we've got more socializing, nice weather, holidays, barbecues, all of these things, that's a big win. So celebrate that. This week or the remainder of this week and next week, I want you to think about some of those key goals, those basic steps and habits that we're looking at, and focus on those, tick them off. Okay. Protein with every meal, getting your fruit and veg in, hydration, steps, 2 to 3 strength sessions a week, and then you sleep. And try and tick off as many of those. Look to the week ahead, plan in your strength training sessions, plan in your gym sessions, your home workouts, whatever it is you're doing. Make sure you've got your meals planned for the week ahead. Okay, make sure you know what you're eating. If you've got them planned, great. If you can prep them, even better. And then review this week. So tomorrow, I want you to look back at this week and I want you to think, right, what's gone well? What can we focus on next week to make it even better? All right. And next week is week 8. We've got the break week or the rollover week in week 9. Okay. So there's no kind of check-in. There is a check-in next Thursday, but there's no check-in the week after. But make sure you're looking at booking your calls in as well. All right. Hope this is useful. Hope there's some good answers to those questions that are useful for you. But I and Alice will be back next week and we will see you then. Bye for now.